Be honest, how many things on your 2025 vision board actually came true this year? Better yet, how many things from all the vision boards from the past 5 years have actually come true, just like you wanted them to? If your answer is not enough or nothing, I'll try to break down some of the reasons why that might be happening so you can actually have the information you need before you make the one you're going to make in 2026. Otherwise, we don't want you to be in the same position 12 months from now, wondering why you are so passionate about the goals that you have and nothing is happening. You know what they say, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So that's what we're trying to avoid. In this video, I've put together some of the mistakes people make on their vision boards. This is from vision boards I've seen with friends, but also vision boards I've seen online, the processes people follow while they're making their vision boards, and I'm like, And then a year later, some of the wonderful girls that I follow in here, they're like, oh, this didn't happen, that didn't happen. And I'm like, well, if maybe we had tweaked it and done it a little bit differently, maybe things would have come true, or at least would have made some progress on some of them. The mistake most people make while they're figuring out why things are not happening in their lives is blaming themselves. And don't get me wrong, you are in many ways responsible for making your dreams come true, but sometimes the systems you've set up are not working for you. In fact, sometimes they might be working against you, and that is what I want to address in this video. The number one reason I see people's vision boards not working out is focusing too much on aesthetics / not being intentional. I'm putting these as 2 points, even though they could be separate, because the main reason a lot of people are not intentional about their vision boards is because they tend to focus on the aesthetics rather than the intention they want by making the board. Now, I totally understand it's called a vision board, meaning it has to be visual, and also, pretty pictures obviously way more motivating than basic ones. But I feel like there needs to be a line that should not be crossed where the aesthetics are put over the intention. Otherwise, you just have a pretty collage which anyone can make, and that's not what we want if we're at a point where our goals need to come true for us to have a fulfilling life. This can be okay for like a teenager, but if you're in your late 20s, you're trying to make moves that are going to determine the rest of your life, I imagine this is not what you want from your board, right? Take an example of a board like this. It's got this beautiful picture of this very, very beautiful girl with clear skin, and everyone wants clear skin, and that's not a bad thing, but I find it hard to believe that this clear skin is communicating what this person intended to put on this board. Almost everyone on Mother Earth wants clear skin. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Meaning, this does not mean much for any one person's specific goals, right? What does that clear skin mean? Does that mean that you are going to eat better to get clear skin? Does that mean you're going to clear your acne? Do you have acne? Basically, it means nothing. It's making the board really pretty, but at the end of the day, that's not exactly that does not communicate anything to the goals that we're trying to achieve. Look at another one here, and we've got this beautiful picture, but again, what does it say? What does it communicate? Are you going to go there? Are you going to travel there? What does it say? It's making a really beautiful board, but it has no goal. I have made an intentional vision board template that I'm going to link in the description of this video, and let me show you how that would transform this clear skin into something much more achievable and actionable. So instead of clear skin, let's talk about me specifically. I have clear skin, not to sound like I'm bragging or anything. Like, I've had clear skin for most of my life, but I have skin goals too, right? So I would say I've become better about wearing my sunscreen every day. I would say I'm wearing it about 5 out of 7 days, but I would like to get to a point where I'm wearing it every single day, right? So if I had an image of sunscreen here, that can communicate something that I want to do for my skin rather than the results, or just finding a pretty picture of someone with clear skin and adding it to my vision board. If, for example, maybe you're struggling with acne and then you want to go on Accutane next year, having someone apply Accutane, having a bottle of Accutane in here, or maybe you're going to start retinol, that can be a great thing to add to your vision board. But someone with clear skin, I'm sorry, I hate to say this, but if everyone wants that goal, then is that your vision board anymore? Isn't that just the general public's vision board, if you get what I'm saying? A good test I give people when I'm speaking to them about their goals, about to make their vision boards more intentional and specific, is, can that goal be transferable between two people? Obviously, I know two people can have the same goal, but it's incredibly rare that you have the same specific goal, right? So I have my sunscreen goal, and if I transferred that to someone who wears sunscreen already, or for whom that is not the main concern for their skin, that does not apply anymore. If you find 10 people, at least 8 of them that is not going to apply, because most people are not struggling with sunscreen at this big age of mine, right? Yeah, now that is a good sign that that goal is specific enough and is really intentional. Yeah, and having your vision board be intentional does not mean it cannot be aesthetic, by the way. What we do is we determine the intentions before, as you will see on the intentional vision board template. Once you determine the intention before, if you're on Pinterest, 99% of the images on there are aesthetic. So there is no way you're going to fail to find an aesthetic image of whatever it is you're looking for, right? So if your specific skin goal, for example, is sunscreen, there are so many aesthetic images of sunscreen, not to measure from the brands themselves. If you know them, the ones you would like to use, you can find their images, which are great professionally shot photos. So you don't have to settle for pretty pictures, yet they're not doing anything for your goals. The second reason people's vision boards fail is having way too many pictures and too much going on their vision boards. Again, I'm going to use an example of a vision board. This is just a board I pulled from Pinterest, but I also know it's someone's board because I saw them created. And all I have to say is I find it incredibly hard to believe that someone can manage to prioritize all this within 1 year. Don't get me wrong, 1 year is a long time, but it feels longer than it actually is. A month is only 4 weeks. If you have on your board that I'm going to grow, I don't know how many kilos of muscle, and you actually find out how long it takes to put on said muscle, you'll be surprised to find out that maybe you cannot actually do it in 1 year. If you're doing something every other week, you're only doing it 24 times in a year. And how many things can you be perfect at after doing them only 24 times? No. After I upload my 24th video on this YouTube channel, I'm still not going to be a great YouTuber. So basically, if I had on here maybe to have 50k subscribers and then grow 50k followers on TikTok and then grow my hair long, it starts to become a bit too much. And what makes this situation actually worse is when the pictures become so overwhelming that it actually stop you from getting anything started. Wouldn't you rather focus on a few things this year and push a few things to the next and then get through them slowly by slowly? This is especially important for habits that you're picking up for the first time. I have a master's in nutrition, so I've worked in nutrition for some time before I decided to switch into marketing. I have never met anyone who managed to pick up even 3, this is specific to nutrition, I mean 3 habits at the same time and actually stick to them. Do you know what a habit is? It is something you do every day, ideally frictionlessly, effortlessly. You barely have to think about it. So how are you going to drink 2 liters of water for the first time in your life while eating more grains, while growing your hair, while traveling to 15 countries in the year, while passing your exams? That's what I mean. These are all worthy goals to have, but perhaps for this year we can focus on one, and not one specifically, but focus on a few and then move on to something else. This is how my vision board looked this year, and I remember thinking, it's a bit thin, I wish I could add more, but I chose to keep it this way because I knew that if a point came halfway through the year and I wanted to adjust my goals or add on something new, I could do that. For example, here when I started with tennis, I just wanted to just play tennis, be able to play tennis socially, honestly. But after 4 months of training, I'm getting to a level where I can play a few matches. I'm still obviously not the level I would like to be at, but I can still play a match. And if someone is at the same level-ish, the fact that I can even score just 1 point against people who have been playing tennis for like 20 years, 30 years, that means so much to me. So I'm already rewiring my brain, retuning my brain and thinking, you know what? I've surpassed that goal and I can start thinking of a further goal. You can always adjust during the year, right? So don't force too much on your plate because, first of all, it is very unlikely that you'll be able to achieve that. But more importantly, you will freeze up. And even when you manage to get some things done, you're always going to feel like you've not done much for the year, yet you've actually done something. But because it's only 40% of your board, it feels like you've not done anything. The third reason I find that people's vision boards do not work out is unrealistic expectations. This I feel like can be a combination of the past 2 points we've talked about. The first one is focusing on aesthetics, and the second one being too many pics. Because if you're a student, even if you're a professional and you have a Birkin on your vision board, like that's a 10,000 pound bag. In 1 year, really? Are you going to have 10k saved? You should. And by the way, you should not be saving for a Birkin, just to make that clear. Birkin money should be money that you are going to, that had no plans for it, and you're like, you know what, the best use of this money is to buy a 10,000 pound handbag. So let's just put that out there. But now maybe a Birkin, people might put that there just to represent a certain lifestyle, but then you find also some other unrealistic goals but seem a bit achievable. This is mostly common in the wellness space because in a way everything in wellness feels achievable, right? All you have to do is eat healthier, drink more water, move a little bit more, right? But if you haven't worked out consistently for most people all your life, maybe growing a six-pack is not the goal you want to have for your year. Do you get what I'm saying? I've been exercising for almost a decade and I don't have a six-pack. Not that I want it anyway, but there are periods in my life when I'm like, okay, I need to get really fit. If I have a shoot, if I have a modeling shoot, and I need to get really fit, and I still never even get my second two abs to show. It's just my top two, which I'm completely satisfied with, don't get me wrong, but for the effort I put in, I'm like, wow, I've been exercising for 6 days a week for 6 weeks and there's nothing, and yet I'm actually feeling like my shape is changing. That's what I mean. Keep your goals within the realm of what feels achievable within a year. Now, this is not stopping you from dreaming big, and perhaps if this is a major concern for you, maybe you should have a general life vision board and then have a vision board just for 1 year, right? I think actually, now that I say that, I think I'm going to do that as well, right? Because I understand who wouldn't want to have a back end, but then again, my priorities this year and the next, and probably the one after that, I'm 100% sure I'm not going to be buying a 10,000 pound bag. I don't even have a house. Like, if I got 10k right now, there's so many better things I could use that money for instead of spending it on a bag that, well, granted, it is a great investment. Their prices do double as soon as you walk out of the shop, some even triple, but still, this is becoming about backends, but that was not the point. Sometimes I'll see things like private jet flights on people's boards, and I'm thinking, really? Your goal is to have a private flight this year? I don't know, should we maybe reprioritize? Is that feasible? Do you know someone with a private jet? And if you do know someone with a private jet, I'm not sure you should be watching this. Or if you do have a private jet, I'm not sure you need to be watching this. I think you need to go out and spend and enjoy your life, because we're not in the same tax bracket. But yeah, let's find that balance between dreaming big and actually being realistic about what can be achievable. And remember, the important thing is, once you surpass that goal, you can always readjust. A vision board is not a rule book, right? It's just something to give you a sense of direction. Think of it that way. Give me a sense of direction. If you have a picture of something ridiculously expensive, ridiculously unachievable, what is the direction? You're seeing the big picture, but the first step you need to take here is lost on us, and there is no way you can get to that big picture without going on that first step, right? So we can still dream big, that's fine. Maybe we keep it on a separate vision board, but if you're making a vision board for 1 year, 12 months, only 50 weeks, we need to keep it within the realms of what we know is possible at the moment. And if you surpass that goal, that's fine. Readjust once you've done it. I'm imagining if you're making a vision board, you're probably struggling a little bit with discipline and motivation. So if you have these goals that are not going to give you returns pretty quickly, it can be highly demotivating. So it can actually be motivating to dream a bit smaller, get that done, and then you can move on to the bigger things once we've moved this out of the way. Come on, think about it. How are you going to lift weights 3 times every week if you cannot even get yourself to drink some water in the morning before you get out of bed? Do you get what I'm saying? Let's start small and we can get big. Everything starts somewhere, and it's okay. In fact, there is no way to get further without taking the small steps first. Reason number 4 people's vision boards fail is focusing on outcomes instead of processes. Oh, this is a big one. This is really big. You know how they say a goal without a plan is a wish? If I'm being honest, for most vision boards that I see, people have wishes on there but not goals. People have on there their dream body, but what are you going to do to get that dream body? If you want to get ripped, I need to see some dumbbells on your board. You get what I mean? If you want to make more money, let's say side hustle, for example, I started this YouTube channel. Instead of having on there 100k subscribers, I should be having on there my upload schedule, if you get what I'm saying. Instead of having on there pictures of happiness or maybe a quote about happiness, what are you going to do to bring that happiness into your life? Maybe a picture of girls at dinner drinking some wine, showing that you have the intention to actually reach out to your friends and spend time with them to improve your mood and to improve your social life, right? Instead of having on there a picture of maybe a couple holding hands, and again, these pictures can go on the general life vision board, but on this one, for just 1 year, we want to focus on those specifics. We want to get that magic, we want to get that jolt up our butts so we can actually get things moving, instead of having that. So maybe you have on there Hinge if you're going back on the apps. Good luck, by the way. or you have on there maybe you're going to pick up a sport, which is a great way to meet people. Maybe you're going to go out every weekend to meet people. Though, I mean, I don't know, maybe bars are not the best place to meet a guy. Anyway, I don't know, a guy is a guy wherever you meet him. But that's my point, is that the outcome is great, but what are you going to do to get there? And a good trick I always give people when you're determining your goals is to always ask yourself, how? So next year, one of my goals will be to take care of my hair. I'm growing my afro out because I've been relaxed. But instead of having someone on there with like a huge, beautiful afro, I'll have on there maybe Olaplex. I'm going to do my Olaplex number 3 at least twice a month. You know, now that's a process. That's how I'm going to get to my big, beautiful afro instead of focusing on just the end result. Next year, for example, when you have your financial goals, how are you going to do that? You know, how are you going to achieve that? Is that through saving? Is that through earning more? Is that through asking for promotion? And even getting that promotion, sometimes that promotion can sometimes be a result as well. The work you've been doing at your job, is that work worthy of a promotion? If not, then you need to know the process you need to go through to earn that promotion. If that's to take a course, take a screenshot of the name of that course and put it on there. That way you look at your board and you know, oh, this is what I want to do. Oh, this is what I need to do. Instead of looking at the board and like, oh, this is what I want and I don't have it. In fact, you know what? I think that would be a really great quick litmus test to test see how your board is reflecting your processes instead of your goals. When you look at it, you should not be getting feelings of this is what I want or this is what I don't have, but more like this is what I'm going to do, right? I think that's a pretty good test. Let me know what you think. Think about it. If you're trying to have a healthy body, a healthier diet, instead of having whatever it is, someone, I don't know, who's ripped or someone with your dream body or someone in a bikini or something like that. Instead, if you had on there fruits for dessert or a healthier dessert, you're like, oh, that's what I need to do to get to my dessert, instead of looking at that beautiful hot influencer's body and, you know, bringing yourself down. Yet in reality, if you took the small steps, that could be you 18 months from now. You just need to be comfortable with the fact that it's going to take some work, and that's okay. Everything worth doing is difficult, and that's okay. We'll get there, don't you worry. Reason number 5, people's vision boards do not work out. Not chickens. Like, people tend to treat vision boards as these, I don't know, like a wheel. So you write it, you keep it somewhere and leave it there. But that is not what we want, because at the end of the day, it's called vision board, visual, a board that is visual, which means we need to be looking at it, right? Every now and then, at the very least, right? We need to be checking in, are we doing things right? The bare minimum I honestly recommend is to look at your vision board every quarter. So that's March, June, September, and obviously at the end while you're making the board for the following year. So this is the minimum, the bare minimum I recommend. If you can look at it once per month, that's even more ideal while you're planning, you know, your priorities for the next month. But you have a board, for example, that you want to spend more time outdoors, and it's, you know, January, super cold, or worse yet, February, and you're so demotivated from going outside. If you had that check-in at the end of January, you remember, but I promised myself I'm gonna go out a little bit, and that's what's going to encourage you to jolt you up from your bed or your chair to go out and take some time out on the streets or out in the park, and you'll thank yourself. We do need these micro doses of motivation sometimes. One time is not enough to motivate you. In fact, I have a few studies I've been looking at for another video that I'm working on of how the science behind vision boards, and one of the studies found that like the effects of the mental work wear off after some time. So what we need to do is kind of refresh our memory and rejot our memory. I mean, even our favorite shows, we watch them all the time to get that same feeling from them. So it should only be expected that we actually need to do some work. We do need to have a reminder to show us when we've gone off course, and that's not a bad thing. The most obvious trick is to make your vision board your screen saver, your wallpaper, either on your phone. I really don't like it to have it on my phone, because then people see it all the time and I feel a bit vulnerable. Everyone's saying the things that I want. I don't know why. I don't mind people knowing, but like sometimes it can be a bit awkward when I pull it up and then everyone is seeing, like, I don't know, whatever funny pictures I have on there. Yeah, so I prefer you to have it on an iPad or a computer. Yeah, just something that I still see daily, or the bare minimum weekly, but not my phone, because yeah, I'm just a bit shy. But if you're okay with your phone, that's also okay. Also, the images do shrink a little bit on the phone, so they might not be as visible. Some people do print them out and put them up in their bedroom. I think that's also a great trick. The only issue is that personally, I wouldn't like that scrappy aesthetic like in my room. As you can see, I'm a very, not minimal, but just I prefer plain clean look. Maybe if I had multiple rooms and I had an office, I could put that there. I think actually that would be really great if you have an office, but since I don't, I kind of just live it in the digital world, since I'm not addicted, but you know, I spend more time than I'd like to admit on my devices. Or some people also save them on their Pinterest boards. Just save the pictures on a Pinterest board, and then while they're looking at their boards, they do that. Point being, every couple months at the minimum, you need to look at your board and see, okay, I've been doing that, I'm this much closer to doing that. And you know, if you find that you're not doing something, it's also okay. It goes back to the first point I talked about, intentionality. If you get to a point, I think if you see that I was supposed to go to Morocco, but then I decided to prioritize starting a business with my partner, not my romantic partner, a friend, and so I'm fine. So when I look at that Morocco trip now that I need to make my 2026 board, I'm not sad that, oh no, I was supposed to go to Morocco, I didn't, because I knew when I looked at it back then, I was like, you know what, this isn't the biggest priority of my life. I live in Europe. Morocco is always less than 4 hours away, so I can always, you know, I can be there before dinner. There's no point in rushing that, and let me prioritize actually being able to afford to go to Morocco more than one time in a year, right? And finally, the last reason people's vision boards do not work out is focusing too much on the appearance of success instead of what they believe their success is. Now, I'm guessing this usually comes from people just going on Pinterest and looking at pictures and then just saving those without thinking, is this something that I want, or is this something other people want? Obviously, if it's like semi-viral on Pinterest, it means it's pretty popular and other people want it, and then you'll have people putting things on their boards that don't even align with their visuals. Genuinely, I have seen people's boards and I'm like, oh, what does this mean? What is it? And they're like, I don't know, I just thought it would be pretty cool to do this and this and this and that. It happens a lot with travel, right? You know, everyone this year was going to Brazil, so I just thought it would be pretty cool to have on here. But if it's not your dream to go to Brazil, that's fine. Just put whatever your dream is. Oh yeah, it was super trendy to go skiing last year, but I hate the cold, but I thought the picture was pretty cool. You know, take that away and put something that actually aligns with what you want from your life. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Success is a very complicated thing, you know. Many people define success differently, but I would like to assume that for many of us it is some semblance, as close as you can be to being satisfied with your life, to enjoying your day-to-day, and to achieving the things you want to achieve and being rewarded for, you know, the work you're putting in. That's what I would say. But so many times media, social media especially, oh god, can introduce these versions of success that feel like if you don't hit this goal, then I guess your life is not worth living. And being that most of us are going to be women watching this, I imagine you face that a lot with romantic relationships. I have never had a romantic relationship on any of my boards, and I'm currently in a happy one. You get what I'm saying? Because it was never my priority, and if I wasn't in one, it would have never been something that concerned me. But you have so many people that will put on things on there like that, like maybe someone being proposed to, maybe a dream proposal, and that is not something they particularly care about, but because society has told them nothing else is worth having, nothing else is worth enjoying if you don't have someone to enjoy it with, which is so wrong, which is so wrong. You need to look within, examine yourself, and see that the things you're aiming for in your life are actually about you. This is so important. You don't want to wake up at 60 and realize you've lived a life for your parents, for your siblings, your partner, for your friends. To make it worse, some people even live their lives for their enemies just to one up on them. How sad, how terrible. No one goes to bed with you, no one is there in the moments when you're alone. Worse yet, no one is going to be with you in your deathbed regretting all of the things you did or worse did not do, trying to please virtual haters or trying to win over your imaginary people who hate you or dislike you. Define success for yourself. Make sure that the things you're chasing actually mean something to you, and the best way to do this is to eliminate all the things that are making noise in your head. I'm not saying you walk away from these things, but ask yourself genuinely, what would I want if I didn't have influence from my parents, religion, country, culture? This is not to say you should eliminate these things from your life, because in many cases these things are actually going to align with what you want. The thing is that you need to be sure that you're not just doing those things just because those elements of your life are forcing you to do it. Do you get what I'm saying? Just because you are tall, beautiful, and everyone is telling you should be a model, then you go after modeling. I mean, if you can, well and good, you know. I really support people making money from their looks, But if that's not what you want, let it go. Do things by yourself. Even the reverse is true. If you're tall and beautiful and want to model. There is no reward for suffering at the end of life. In fact, there's people who take on so much suffering. You see that in parents so much. Like, I sacrificed so much. I lost my life. I lost my agency. Well, if you're taking some time to, think about the things you actually wanted for your life, maybe you wouldn't be in this situation. So if you want to be a model, whether you have a degree and you don't feel like chasing that anymore, go do that. If you want to repair drums, if you want to sweep roads, if you want to braid hair, if you want to add beads to people's hair, you go do that. If that makes you happy, that is what is most important. Anyway, if you're ready to make a vision board that will actually come to life, watch my tutorial on how to make a vision board. Or if you don't want to spend hours doing your vision board, just click the link below where you'll find a template that you can use to make an intentional vision board that is actually going to serve you. And there are also pictures you can use, so you don't have to go up and down Pinterest, especially with all those ads hunting for pictures. Yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, and check out all the other videos in the series: how to make a vision board, common mistakes people make while making their vision board, how to make your vision board come to reality, and finally how vision boards work, like the actual science behind how they make your dreams come true. Have a lovely day or night or evening wherever you're watching from. Mwah.